Rassie, do you feel like you're sort of in quite a good, I mean, you've got injuries, like we spoke about last week, and that's why maybe you can't mix and match when you go to New Zealand later on. But you do seem to be sort of in a position, which is quite rare for a Springbok coach lately, of, you've got more players than you need in some positions.
Yes, given in some positions definitely, and others obviously a little bit more thin. But yeah, I think we're blessed definitely in the forwards. I don't think it's been for a while that we had so many front rowers available and good hookers available, and obviously a lot of second rowers, and we're mixing and matching a bit at loose forwards at this stage. So yeah, I think the pack definitely, and then I think talent-wise at the backs there's tremendous a lot, but not a lot of experience. So yeah, no, I think you're right. Obviously that doesn't mean that we will be successful automatically, but it's a good sign. I think the job that the Super Rugby franchises did in creating the steps.
Rassie, can you give us clarity on Eben? Is he available this week, and also any other injury concerns?
Yes, Eben's available. I think we just got the clearance from the specialist. As I said, he's been really functional for a while. He's been with us for 3-4 weeks now. Since the Stormers fell out of the competition, he fell in with us, and he's been training full on, fit, powerful. Obviously, match fitness will be a bit of a problem, but I think the way we'll select the team, because he will be in the mix this weekend, Eben, the way we'll select the team will be to make sure that we have cover for him, because I think to get more out of 60 minutes out of him, although he's very fit, I think contact-wise will be a bit tough. So yes, other injuries, nothing new since we've spoken about Trevor and all the normal injuries which you guys know about.
Would you rather consider playing Eben off the bench, or you think of starting him?
Yeah, I think playing off the bench, the risk is always, you get an injury in the first 5 minutes, he'll have to go 75, which is always I'd much rather start somebody like him to make sure that, if he's tired or, fatigued, then you can sub him, where if you put him on the bench, you're in trouble if something happened in the first few minutes.
And speaking about the locks, do you have you have so many good players at lock. Do you have an ideal lock pairing in mind already going to the World Cup, or what are you trying to see with your team?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to make sure that we get experience into, because there's a lot of talent. A guy like RG is young, but he's talented, and he's played, I think, 3-4 test matches now. But at a World Cup, he won't win a World Cup if he's only played 6 or 7. So I think it's a bit of a combination where we want to make sure if we get to the World Cup that the guys got enough caps, they feel confident in position, they're comfortable in the team surroundings and under pressure, away from home and at home. So yeah, there's definitely a perfect lock pairing in my head for when you face Australia or when you face England. It's totally different when you face, for example, maybe Scotland, who will run all over the park, or the Argentina. So yes, there is, but we're still going to mix and match a little bit without in any way, how can I say, take away the pride in the Springbok jersey. We still just want to make sure that everybody is there when we hit the World Cup.
Rassie, at the start of this rugby championship now, 15 tests to the World Cup, how difficult is it going to be to balance that objective of winning matches, building a winning culture, and growing the game?
Yes, I think people sometimes get it wrong when they say that there's not pressure on me because I've got a 6-year contract. My view, although I cherish this job and think it's the most wonderful job in the world, you can't divorce the director of rugby and the head coach job from each other at this stage, because it's the same person. So if I'm not successful as a head coach, then I'm also not successful as director of rugby. And I'm not stupid enough to think you can divorce the two, but I'm the same person at this stage. So in a sense, the pressure for me not doing well and maybe struggling to keep the job, I'm not worried about that pressure, because I love the South African Springbok too much to worry about that. I'm more worried that the way we're going and where we're going with all things, we're building squad depth and trying to be a winning nation again and getting transformation right and those things. I'm more worried that might fall off track on the way if one is not successful, in winning consistently. Me losing my job, I'll just try and get another one if I have to. But I would really like us to continue on what we're doing. So it's a difficult balancing act. We know there's only 15 test matches, and you want to try and win as far as possible, but you also want to get the team to be so ready for the World Cup to have a realistic chance. So there'll be some hiccups along the way, and we'll have to handle that.
Well, what you're saying is that winning aids development. I mean, it helps to accelerate their development.
Yeah.
If you're losing, you can't really. You don't have that space.
You,
know what I mean?
You're right, Gav, and it's always difficult when you lose to change, because it's crisis management and people see, ghost all over where while you're winning you can mix and match a little bit and give our guys growing into a team and getting used to the team environment. When you're losing, it looks like, it's crisis management. So yeah, you're right, you're 100% right. Winning helps a lot.
Rassie, have you thought about how you're going to use Flo over the Rugby Championship and how you're going to get him involved while you're wanting to match that with giving the younger guys a chance as well?
Yes, a guy like him, because the understanding with him and his club is that we'll have him from the beginning of the Rugby Championship. So there's not arrangements, but there's understandings. With Regulation 9, we can have the guys available every single test match, but we also want to be reasonable in the sense that that the guys stay positive. A guy like Flo is so keen to play for the Boks from last year already. He just got injured. So to answer your question in terms of, I think the first 4 games we'll use him as much as we can, and let Marco and Kyle and the guys learn a lot from him, like Sabu and Apuwe learned from Willie at the back, and like Ivan and the guys are learning from Faf. So Flo is full on ready for that job, and we spoke this morning with the other players. They must suck up everything that he can give to them, and he's willing to help. So we've got a plan with that, and everybody's bought into that.
Rassie, how's your selection headache for this first game? Because you obviously have the June series, there's a few players that have come and gone. Is it a bit like starting again, or are you just trying to rebuild from what you've did against England in June?
No, look, you've got Dwayne out. I don't want to list the name of the players who's out because it will look like an excuse, and I'm sure that they've got as many injuries, and the All Blacks got the same, and Australia's got the same. But it's definitely a different challenge in the sense that some guys has come back, like Eben and Warren, and Cooney will be available a little bit later. Malcolm Marx is available. So there's a lot of positives, but I haven't coached those guys really. So it's me getting used to them and them feeling comfortable around us and the environment. And then at the same time, guys like Lucanio and Apiwe and those guys building on a guy like Lucanio started 2 test matches against England and he's won both. So he's just got positive feedback so far. I don't think he's lost a test match. Maybe last year when he was sat on the bench, I think versus Wales, he lost a test match. So he's in a good space where some of the other guys might have had 1 or 2 starts, but they lost both. So some guys are rebuilding and confidence-wise, and other guys is just continuing where we are. So I think it's a bit of both, if I answer you correctly.
Rassie, last time I was in Durban for an Argentina test. Nobody spoke about Argentina until after the game. Everybody's speaking about Argentina because they won quite comfortably.
Yes.
Is it quite a sort of like a difficulty because nobody does when we play against Argentina, nobody does sort of build them up like they build the New Zealanders or Australians or even England. And they've got a new coach now. There must be a bit of mystery in that, even though we know him well because he coaches the other side. How are you feeling about them? I mean, where are they at the moment?
Yes, Gav, without a doubt. I think you all will agree. You've sat in many press conferences and I've seen many teams being rebuilt and new coaches. If you just put them into their change room now, a coach they're used to, a coach where they've won 5-6 games on the trot with in difficult circumstances in New Zealand and Australia, and then beat all of our franchises, they would have new energy. They would know they've beaten us here. They would sit on that side, be lovely, enjoying the underdog tag, So, no, luckily we know that they're formidable. We've seen what they've done to our Super Rugby teams, and we've seen what they've done to New Zealand and Australian Super Rugby teams. And obviously, their coach has brought a lot of technical and tactical knowledge from Australia, and with their normal grunt that they have, I think that's a very potent combination, So I don't think from our side, the players and the coaching side, we're not thinking about them. We full on know it's going to be a real test match on Saturday.
How much of an adjustment is it for them because they play Super Rugby, and it was almost like they were sort of out in their feet in June, and they carried on. They were sort of also looked tired at the end. How much of an adjustment is it for them? Like when they've got a team that like a lot of them are together in Super Rugby, and then they've got to play super international rugby.
I wouldn't know the full-on answer because I haven't been in that position, but I can just take the Lions, for example, who's now played right through to the final, and then they had to be here on the Wednesday, 3 days after the final, and then continue into June test matches, into this test matches here. So we'll have to manage guys like Franco Moster's game time, Elton's game time, even Ergis Neyman, who's now went to Japan, but he's played every single game almost for the Bulls except one game where they got over 1,100, 1,200 minutes already under their belt. So I guess their minutes, if you look at them, must be crazy, the Argentinian minutes. So some guys are fresh and they handle it, and if it's a test match and you play it against South Africa, I think you lift yourself, and if you're in that match, you're in with a chance. And always the first match of rugby champs it's open for everybody. So I'm not sure. I think from individual, I can see it in the Springbok team. Individuals handle it differently. Some guys just want to play and it's ready for the next one. Other guys just get a bit punch drunk. I guess they're the same, maybe.
Rassie, you spoke of Regulation 9. With regards to Faf and Billy, what has been your communication with their clubs and managing their game time? Are they available the whole time?
They are available the whole time, but in the same breath, we want to make sure that if we do get an injury, if Faf does go down now and just before the World Cup, what do we do then? If we're going to rely on him now right through to the World Cup, if we rely on Dwayne now right through to the World Cup and enforce Regulation 9, and we lose 3 of them just before the World Cup, I don't think Dwayne needs more experience, Dwayne Vermeulen, in playing in the Springbok jersey to perform better in the World Cup. But guys stepping up to the plate right now, for example, in Dwayne's place, is a wonderful experience where you're going to get a fit Dwayne next year at the World Cup. Faf is a young guy in terms of test caps, but an old head, with playing in the English Premiership, and I don't think he needs a hell of a lot of caps to play really well in the World Cup. Yes, gelling-wise and understanding the other players, we need some more time. So we'll handle it case by case. Willie just slotted in wonderful. If a guy like Warwick was fit now and he could learn a lot of things from Willie, I think somewhere we should have started Warwick in a few games. Unfortunately, he's injured, so we're seeing Damian Willems very much in that role now. So so from person to person it varies. We can pull all of them and use them all of the time, and that would be a very selfish thing to do, and we won't really grow the team. So it's case by case.
Is there a chance that the overseas guys will go back to their clubs after the Australasian leg of the championship?
Yeah, there is a chance, but if we do get injuries and we pick up, we can be in a horrible run and we can have a terrible loss or whatever the case may be, and our plans might change. So some of them might go back, and it depends if we get injuries at loose forward or at fullback and somebody else goes down, then we might keep them here. So, we can enforce that, but we also don't want to be stupid and not growing. Yeah, so there's a good chance that might happen, barring injuries.
Rassie, this next 2 weeks you've got Argentina home and away. Do you see that almost as a separate entity, these 2 games against them, in terms of you've got to win to get that foundation for the rugby championship, in terms of selection as well?
Yes, well, they're difficult customers. We've all seen the last 3 years. The moment somebody just take your eye a little bit off the bull, you lose games against them, and sometimes comfortably, and sometimes you get a draw, and people just seems to think they pushovers. We know they're not. So in our team selection, we are going to try a few things. It's not because we don't respect him at all. It's actually because we respect him so much, and know if players of caliber plays against a team like Argentina and comes through that, you actually can count on them when it comes to the tough World Cup test matches. So yes, we see it as a bit of almost a mini series, because it's 2 games consecutively where the others are spread. So and it's the start of the championship, so it will set the tone.
At the same time, Rassie, because I'm still interested in what you said last week about the All Black Day and what you have to go through before you play, whereas they just do one trip across the Tasman.
Yeah.
Am I right saying you go to Argentina on Monday next week?
Yeah.
Then you come back, when do you arrive back in South Africa?
Well, I fly back immediately because we've got a meeting here, but the team fly back, help me around on the next day. Next day, yeah. So we come.
And when do you go to Australia?
Yeah, but then there's a bye.
No,
then there's a bye, and then the Saturday, the Saturday before the Australian test.
So a couple of days away.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're not going to be on tour footing from Sunday.
No, but I mean, you're basically going to have 3 days off here in South Africa, back into training, fly to Australia, play the game there, and then get on the plane the Sunday, and only really start training on the Tuesday for New Zealand, where they've just played Australia once. So that's more not us being so buggered. It's comparing the two teams, what they've gone through. I think that's a challenge. Yeah.
Rassie, one thing that you just said, you are thinking about making a few changes. One of those changes maybe playing Elton at 10 and Andre Pollard at 12.
It's an option, but I don't think we at this stage, Andre's just settling in. Elton's got the most minutes of any player in Super Rugby, in South African player at this stage, in our squad, so we'll have to manage him somewhere. And if we don't manage him in the beginning of the competition, I think he needs a bit of breathing space. So that is an option. We're quite okay with injuries. Damien would probably be ready for the Australasian tour, but he won't be ready for these first two games. Andre Esterhuizen is fit, so it's a home field and playing at the Sharks, in Durban. So it would make sense to select him rather than mixing and matching at that stage.
Rassie, you say you keep talking about Damien as a fullback, Damien Willemse. Would it be possible, like you did, I think, I can't remember which test was it, it might have been in Bloemfontein, where you didn't have a backup fly half. I mean, specialist fly half.
Yeah.
Would you go that route again? In other words, have not a specialist on because you've got a backup at fullback who plays fly half, or first starting fullback for all I know who plays fly half.
I understand what you're asking, Gav. No, definitely. I'm 100% thinking that way. It's such a common thing which people sometimes make a difficult thing to understand. But it's I think the moment you've played there at fullback and you've felt how the opposition 10 is trying to manipulate you and catching you out, and then when you actually go to 10, you can use that experience. A lot of people do it, a lot of clubs do it. Frans Steyn did it. He played fullback fly off. Mackenzie did it. Carter played 12. There's so many examples of guys who move between 10 and 15. Of course, it's tactically you have to outsmart the fullback at the end of the day when it comes to the tactical play. So we would have loved to do that with Warwick, but he's injured at this stage, so this gives us an opportunity.
Rassie, how is Warren Whiteley fitted back into the camp, and what is your position on him in terms of being quite a different player to Dwayne?
Yeah, we will have to rejig the loose forward combination to make sure we keep the grunt and the softer skills, and the faster skills and those kind of things together. We can't just block Warren in there at 8 and think he's going to do the same job as Dwayne. But then there's a lot of things that Warren can do what Dwayne maybe can't do. So what you sometimes lose in a certain aspect, you gain in others plenty more. So we just have to make sure when we select that loose trio, which I'm pretty certain in my mind, the way we're going to do it, we will nullify the losses in terms of attributes. I think we'll cover that.
Rassie, just looking at that centre partnership, obviously in June you never got a chance to play Andre and Lucanio together, and they play at the Sharks together. I mean, could that be a possibility this weekend? Is that something you're looking at to just try out that Sharks combination at test level?
Yeah, I think it's quite obviously I'm going to pick the two of them together, so you can take it that we will. Yes, and not because it's at the Sharks. That's just a bargain or an add-on. I think it helps that the two of them has played together, especially with Sabu out now. That I think that link between Lucanio and Sabu on the one side, you feel more comfortable. The face left and right of you. I think it always helps if you only got 3 or 4 test caps that the guy next to you is somebody that you've played a whole Super Rugby campaign together. So it makes a lot of sense.
Very last question.
No, go. All good.
Just going back to the loose trio. You've obviously got two fetchers have come in now, and Dwayne's gone. Getting the balance right, Rassie, and will it be horses for courses with the loose trio you pick?
I think there's 2 guys that I really want to see play in the Springbok jersey and see how they perform. I would like to see Marco play in the Springbok jersey and see how he performs, because I said it before, in the England series, when he didn't get injured, he would have started as open sider for us there. So, and then I think Kyle, I've been watching him since I got the job and monitoring his work rate on attack and on defense. So I'd love to see. He's also almost a bit of a mixed bag where he's not a blind side, he's not an open side. He does both really well. He's big, he's strong, and he steals ball well. He carries well. So love to see him at some stage. So while watching those guys, hopefully we don't lose matches. But I'm going to try and see them in these next 2 games. Try and see both of them in the Springbok jersey.
when you say, sorry, that's going to be another question. When you say that, you know, because the more you talk, the more it sort of becomes obvious that Sia might be playing a lot at number 7, and Peter Steff played number 7 against England before. Are we going to see Peter Steff maybe start specialising more as a lock again?
I think as long as Peter Steff can still play flank and do the line-out calling for us, it's a massive bargain. So the more one can move between those two, that's fine. I think the moment we start moving him to the front part of the lock, where he does more the Bakkies Botha work, I think then we're being stupid, because he's so mobile and roaming and stuff like that. So I know with Luet out currently and so's Franco calling lineouts and Peter Steff calling lineouts. Those will probably be the 2 5 locks that we concentrate on out until Luet's fit. And yes, Sia will play 7, South African 7, blindside for us during some of these matches. But again, if it doesn't go well and the loose forwards doesn't gel well, we might revert back. But I've coached him always as a blindsider, but he's learned many tricks and things as open sider, which impressed us.
Okay. Is there